Yes, hello, good evening. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Today, for a very quick hour, we are joined by the one and only Kaz from Never a Foul Media, Henry Wright from Wright TV. You all know him now, him and his sexy backwoods baseball caps, and one of the only Arsenal fans I can stream with, a sensible Arsenal fan, if you will, Mr. Dan Potts from Football's 12th Man podcast. How are you guys? You all right?
Very well, mate. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, good, mate.
Yeah,
good.
Other than the results, all right? Yeah.
Yeah, but listen. At least you're playing Real Madrid in pre-season friendlies. We're playing Singapore's fifth best team or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like levels to
Singapore's rowing team we're playing.
Singapore's rowing team. Yeah. As always, just quickly before we get into it, you know the rules. Smash the like button as you enter. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Help me get to 8K. We're 150 away. Subscribe to Henry. I'm sure you have. And subscribe to the other chaps who both, they might not support Spurs, but they do a lot of content which isn't about their own club. So please go and subscribe to Football's 12th Man podcast and to Never a Foul Media. And I'm sure one of my mods will put their links in the chat. Guys, I want to get a perspective of Henry from an Arsenal. Sorry, Henry from a Spurs point of view, Kaz from United, and Dan from an Arsenal point of view with regards to Tottenham's defensive situation. You hear a lot from me. You hear a lot from the likes of Sean about what is our standpoint on the defensive targets. Let me start with you, Dan. From an Arsenal point of view, I'm sure you love it, the absolute disarray and mess that Tottenham Hotspur is in right now. Just to give you a quick overview, really, really briefly, Spurs were in for Tapsoba. Now looks like that is dead in the water because he actually costs real money and not monopoly money. Van de Ven, it looks like, as ever, all the noises we're hearing, there is no deal anywhere close and the deal could be off. Tosin Adarabioyo appeared to be our third choice. It now looks like, from all the reports since I put this title of Tosin is as good as it gets, it now looks like he's off to Monaco, Dan. What do you make of it? And from your point of view, when you look at our defence, what do you think?
I think what I've thought for the last 5 or 6 years, it's absolutely washed, mate. Your defence is a shambles and always has been. And I'm stunned. I actually read something that you'd put up, Savva, about the last time you'd signed Tori Alderweireld. You've literally bought nobody other than Davinson Sanchez that's been anything over 20 million, and he was an absolute shambles worth around 40 odd million, which was probably one of the worst signings in Tottenham's history in terms of how much he spent for him for the quality of the player, or the lack of quality of the player, should I say. But it surprises me that Tapsoba and Van de Ven aren't close, because for me, you should be putting all you can into getting a partnership at the back, and you need to bin off Eric Dyer as soon as possible. You need to bin off Tangangas and try to use Ben Davis there, Joe Rodons, all these guys that we've seen. They just need to all go. They're just not good enough. Like, it's funny because I've had so many debates with Spurs fans talking for the last couple of years about perhaps Dyer and Lloris are not what Tottenham need. And all I get is just shouted at by these Spurs fans telling me that I'm toxic and that I don't watch Tottenham, so go away. Please keep Dyer in your side and Lloris in goal then, please. I'd love to see it, because it's if you're that desperate to tell me that I'm wrong, please let Dyer and Lloris prove that I'm wrong. Well, it looks like I was right all along. Now, I don't care. I'm more than happy for you to have Dyer and Lloris in your side. It's a little bit like when we had Mustafis and when we had Socrates and David Luiz, there was 4 or 5 of them that were shambolic, weren't they? And it reminds me of that. It really does. You now have Romero, who's your only half-decent centre-half. The others are absolutely washed. But what's more worrying, Savva, is that you can't get a Fulham centre-half across the line, or a Wolfsburg or whatever he is, or Werder Bremen centre-half across the line. This is worrying for me. And if I'm a Tottenham fan, I said this on Henry's channel, I'm pointing at Daniel Levy, and I don't know what your fan base are doing, but you need to try and unite to get him out, to get the new owners. Without new owners at Tottenham and him gone, I just don't see Tottenham doing anything. You've had Mourinho, Conte, Poch. You haven't won anything with those. How are you going to win anything with Ange Postecoglou? And you can't get any of these players through the door. It's just a mess, man. And I said this to you on a voice note earlier, Savva, and I stand by it. I've
not listened to that yet, by the way. No, I've not listened to it yet.
It's fine.
Is it a spoiler?
I'll tell you what I said. I'll tell you what I said then, if you want, in a nutshell, was basically with a couple of centre halves, your first 11 ain't even that shambolic, if I'm honest with you. And can't believe that you can't get these players through the door. So as a Spurs fan, I'm worrying. But why should you be shocked? This has been happening for God knows how long. There's only really yourself and Henry that I've spoken to about this, and perhaps Tobes, that are all on the same wavelength, that there's a problem, and his name is Daniel Levy. Some of the other Spurs fans just seem deluded, and they're just tapped. They're like, no, it's not that. It's not that. What is it then? Because let's be real. There's some serious problems at your club, mate. And there's a lot that he's done good for the club. But trust me, there's a lot he's done bad for it as well, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Kaz, I'm coming over to you now. I mean, look, the reason why I wanted you two guys on is because I think if Henry and I just have the conversation with ourselves, it's obviously from a more emotive place where we're like, come on, we've seen this for years. But as a rival, I use that term loosely. We've been in the fourth conversation for a while now. But Kaz, as a fan of a club in and around where Spurs have been for the last few years, do you feel the same way as Dan does, that you look at us and think, what a shambles at the back, and you're not worried about playing us?
Well, in the words of Scotty P, who is Dan Potts? If you remember that guy who was asking over and over again. I'm not worried. I'm glad to play you lot as quick as possible. Second game of the season, I think it's in your ground as well. I just want to smash you lot. And I can't lie, just get over and away, because I just think over time, when you let someone gel and get their system across, then it gets a little bit more dangerous, especially if it's at their gaff. But at this moment of time, your defense, I can't believe that you're not going to get potentially, what's it called? You might settle for Lenglet and whoever else, and not go get Van der Ven, who I rate quite a lot. I actually rate the other guy as well, Savva. So it's a bit. I just don't understand. It's like you're gonna have to put in a bid for, what's it called, like Joe Lewis's Joe Lewis's bond, so I can get out of prison, mate, before you go and buy another centre back. So you might have to put Joe Rogan in with a with a few million.
Would any of our defenders get into Man? Hang on, you don't even know my question.
No,
you don't even know my question.
No, would any of the defenders get into your club? No, they wouldn't.
You wouldn't take a single one of our defenders. Would Romero make your 11 or your bench?
I'd rather keep Maguire.
Fighting.
Come on, Kaz. Kaz.
I mean, they're serious. I'd rather keep Maguire. Why do I want a guy that's not even properly proven or anything? If anything, he's just as good, or if not as bad, as Maguire.
Romero is better than Maguire. Come on, Kaz.
I don't care. The guy can't pass. I've seen Romero's passing. It is shocking. So at least Maguire can pass for me. The only thing that he's got over him is pace. What's the difference? Who cares? They're not winners. What's the difference? They're not winners for me. Fair. They don't have mentality either. The only thing he's won, I suppose, is the World Cup. But
the only thing he's won, the World Cup.
I mean, in club level, though, isn't it? Like, I hear you. I'm just not a fan of the recklessness of Romero. So I feel like I'm going to go 10. Like, I'm going to have 10 men, and that's what I don't really like. I'd rather someone at least that can stay on their feet and on the pitch. How many times Romero gets sent off? If we're being totally honest, you have to feel for the fans, man, because it's like you get a new manager. He's your fifth choice manager, like as in fifth choice down the bracket, and everything seems to be going well. You got Maddison through the door. You're getting that Israeli through the door as well. Whoever else, Solomon, and a few other players, and I suppose the World Cup. And you just think along the lines of like you already. It seems like maybe Levy is not doing enough, and you're throwing the manager under the bus before he can even get going. And it's like you're setting him up for failure. Then it's the same cycle over and over and over. It's like, what's the point? It's like, it makes me feel like it. It makes me feel like the McFred situation that we've had for 5 years. How have we kept these players 5-6 years? Yeah, mental. So yeah.
I mean, look, Henry, it's a damning indictment, isn't it? When listen, this hasn't happened yet, but there were talks that Tosin Lenglet was going to be the one coming through the door. And Spurs fans, look, me and you included, right? I'm not saying all Spurs, all us as well. We were going, well, he's all right, like, okay, if that's who you want to get in, go and get him in. It doesn't even look like we'll be able to get Tosin Lenglet from Fulham through the door, Henry, who will probably go to Monaco for about 20 million euros or whatever they're going to ask for.
15 million euros.
15 million. Who on earth, Henry, are we going to sign? Because that's Savva, that's Van der Ven, right? Igor's gone to Brighton, who's a good centre-half.
Why he's staying at Palace?
Guahi's going to stay at Palace. Where are we getting a centre half from? Is this going to be Clement Longley?
Clement Longley. As soon as the transfer window finishes in January the 31st, you should be looking at your targets. So when the window opens in the summer, you've identified and gone, we need centre backs. Window opens in June or July, bang, you go and get them. Brighton get Colwill, they go and get that young centre back from Fiorentina. We can't get. I first made my transfer video on the 22nd of June when the talk first launched. It's the 28th of July tomorrow, and we are no closer to signing a centre back from an 8th place team in the Bundesliga. We're not talking about. I did it on my transfer video earlier. We're not talking about pinching a player from Arsenal or Man United, Chelsea or Liverpool or City or Newcastle or Inter or AC or Madrid or any big football club. We're talking about Wolfsburg. Now you could argue Tosin Lenglet is going to choose Monaco because they're in the Europa League and he's got a better chance of winning a trophy in France. Got no problem with that. But that's Van de Ven. That's Adarabioyo. That's Tapsoba. That's Guahi. Who are we going to get, Sam?
Dan, I can feel that Henry's just started to wind. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we've wound him up and he's about to explode.
It's going to be Clement Longley. It makes perfect sense for Levy. It's going to be under €5 million fee. He's left-footed centre-back, so he'll slot right next to Romero, right? We've already got a big problem about our forwards can't play this system. The natural forwards we've got in Kulusevski and Son, unless Son's through the middle, is going to be non-existent. We've got no DM, right, in our club. We've got the only good centre-back we've got to charges 40 yards out of his defensive line and snap someone in half, right? Our goalkeeper, we didn't want to pay £40 million from Raya, so we bought someone from a 10th place team in, Serie A. We've placed 5 shots in pre-season and conceded 4 goals. Our chairman is being done for an indictment against the Financial Court of New York, which has got a 98.5% win rate when it comes to cases. So Joe Lewis is screwed. Daniel Levy's going to get full control of this football club. Honestly, we are an absolute disgrace. I say it now, we are the worst team in the Premier League when it comes to footballing decisions. Say it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look. By the way, everybody, there's 458 of you in here. Only 100 likes. Come on, Dan. By the way, whenever you go onto a Spurs channel, you'll notice that our fans are so tight with the likes. It's like Daniel Levy has got hold of them and said, "Do not like anything." Smash the like button, people. Please smash the subscribe button. Thank you to the 3 people that have. We're now only 147 away from the 8K mark. Let's see if we can get as close to that as today as possible. Dan, this must be music to your ears as an Arsenal fan. Like, seeing your trajectory in the last 18 months compared to our kind of fall, so to speak. This must be great for you as an Arsenal fan. I know you're a level-headed Arsenal fan, but this must be great to see, mustn't it?
I mean, yes and no, because I was never really one of these guys who saw Tottenham as a threat anyway. I really felt that Arsenal were underachieving as opposed to Tottenham overachieving. I thought Tottenham were there or thereabouts. Arsenal should have been celebrating getting a 4th place ahead of Spurs. It's just not something that I ever would do. Tottenham fans do that a lot, and I had a lot of them voice noting me and running around roundabouts when they got 4th and Arsenal got 5th. Well, take a look at yourself, man. Who else finished above Arsenal? It wasn't hard. It wasn't a massive achievement or progress. It might have been nice for you for a couple of seasons to get one over us, but I don't really look at Tottenham as a huge rival. I think geographically they're huge in terms of the North London derby, but I look at what Manchester United have done with Arsenal in the last few years, and then when Chelsea were up there with Jose, Wenger, Fergie, all those kind of guys, and I think Arsenal have fallen off a cliff for the last decade.
Do you want the harsh reality? Our rival is West Ham. That's the harsh reality.
And this is the thing with you. But then that's the thing, though, Henry. But you say that, but I have a lot of other Spurs fans that don't say that think that they're in such dreamland with what Arsenal are doing. And Savva says it's music to my ears. I couldn't really care too much. Do you know what I mean? Because when you were at your best, and everyone was telling me Tottenham are here and Tottenham are back, whatever. I don't understand when Tottenham are back. What does back mean? They've never been anywhere since I've been 35 years old. Tottenham are back. Back to what? Fighting for a Champions League place. I just don't get it.
Bottling
like,
trophies.
For me, It's bizarre. And when Tottenham were at their best, they didn't even win a trophy, let alone try and get to a Premier League or title and stuff. So it's hard for me to say, oh, I'm absolutely loving this, because this is just what Spurs do and have done for ages. They flirted with the top four, and then that's about all they do. I don't know.
But Potts, why are we spoken about so much and we don't win anything? We have got to be the only club in the country that is spoken about at this level, and we don't win major honours. Right, you've had your worst decade.
Henry, it's because of what you've got. When someone's got all the gear but no idea. That's what Tottenham are.
We haven't even got the gear, mate. We've just got no idea, full stop.
Well, maybe, but you've got the stadium, you've got the facilities, you've got the money, you've got the Champions League football, all that, but you've got nothing to show for it. You're going to go through Gareth Bale, Luka Modric, Christian Eriksen, Son, Kane, these top players, and win nothing with it all. That to me is crazy. And for the Spurs fans to look at the ownership and to look at Daniel Levy and think they've done an unbelievable job here, I don't get how that makes sense. Because for me, you might have overachieved a couple of times by getting into the Champions League. I never saw you in a title race. I have under Levy. I never saw you in a beautiful stadium with the facilities. I have under Levy. Never saw you in a Champions League final. You have under Levy. Then it's the so what? What do you do now? Where's the ambition to go and be one of the best? And there's never, ever been that with Daniel Levy. It's always been, I don't really want to win anything because I'm making an absolute hell of money here. But by spending nothing out, I'm making so much money because we're in the Champions League all the time. Go and win a fucking trophy, man.
In terms of football clubs, right? We're the 9th richest club in the world. In terms of revenue, only PSG is the only club PSG and Man City, the only clubs last year to profit more money than Tottenham.
There we go.
Wait, what? PSG, there's something fishy going on there. Yeah, there's something
only PSG and Man City. We finished 8th in the league. Man City won a treble, and PSG have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe shirts selling like hotcakes. Right? How are we in the conversation? How do we even get involved in the Super League? You've got all these.
Hang on, Emery. We won the best stadium award. Why? We've got a right to be up there. We've got. We have our own fans. Well. We did win a trophy, yeah. We
won a trophy. Do you know who else won silverware? Joe Lewis got some silverware on his wrists when he walked out of court. That's the closest he's going to get to silverware, mate.
Keeps on giving. Like
and then handed over a 250 million super yacht as collateral, and all the gifts all the memes going around of, hang on. How much is he going to spend on his defence compared to our defence? Like, we
can't get a centre back, and he's handed over a yacht the size of my road. It's a joke.
Do you know? Did you see how long his yacht is?
Yeah,
his yacht is 330 feet long. That is mental. Our owner is like. He's got the best paintings in the world. He owns 200 companies, right? He has got a yacht worth £250 million that they open up London Bridge so that he can just sail on through. But Spurs can't buy a centre-back. It is absolutely baffling. I mean, Kaz.
Nothing's happened to him. He's too rich. He's too rich to get done. He'll pay a fine. They'll slap his wrist. America makes some money. Simple as that.
Yeah, listen, I get that. Listen, I don't care about Joe Lewis, and Joe Lewis hasn't cared about us since he took over the club. But Kaz, can you, even in your darkest days, obviously you had all the success under Fergie, then you've had a few years since then have been a little bit up and down. Did you ever have a defence as bad as ours? Even in the days when you had maybe a Phil Jones? Who would have partnered Phil Jones back in those days?
I would go back to Louis Van Gaal days, but his defense was quite tight, with Chris Smalling and Tyler Blackett and all that. But
I'd bite your hand off for Chris Smalling right now. By the way, I would bite your hand off to have Chris Smalling at centre half Spurs.
Our defense, even under Ollie, mate, it was a joke. Before Varane came in, there was Maguire and Lindelof. I don't need to say much more other than that. Who was the right back before? We had Ashley Young at left back. It was awful. You could say the one under Ollie was absolutely atrocious. That's probably, even then, is it as bad as Spurs? I think it's similar.
Cats, we spent 100 million on right backs trying to replace Kyle Walker.
Yeah,
100 million on right backs.
I hear it. It's just the direction of your transfer policy. I don't know. It's just, I hear it. I think your fullbacks are sweet. I just think you just need a couple pairs of centre back in your.
I honestly, Kaz, if you speak to Spurs fans, I mean, even if you look at our fullbacks, Henry, isn't it? If you look at our fullbacks,
we've either got that can go up, can attack and defend. We've got Porro, who's more of a winger. Royale's good defensively, but got nothing going forward. Then on the other side, you've got Udogie, who's okay at both, but he'll need about a year or two to fully develop because he's only 20. Then we've got Ryan Sessegnon, who's got. I've never hated a hamstring in all my life as much as his hamstring because he's built like.
I mean, you got Regulon well, I like to call him Regular Don because he's not. He's just regular. He's just average. But
he can't defend though.
He can't defend either. He can't defend.
I just think of the systems Angie likes to play. Like from what I know from Celtic, and probably even little bits and bobs of what you can see online, is that he likes his attacking fullbacks. That's where your midfield needs to come into play to work out a system that does work. You know, Christian Romero in the back four as well. If you go watch Atalanta, he was the guy that was in the middle, not on the right or the left. I've just seen him play on, I think it was for the World Cup. Even the World Cup, you could see.
Do you want to tell Daps to shut up? I think it's Daps. All I can hear is Daps shouting down the phone.
I'm on stream, thank you. On stream, thank you. Yeah,
can I ask you two a question, right? And this is serious. This is for Savva and Henry, right?
Go on.
I hear a lot of Spurs fans that are like, that I speak to, Poch, looks like Poch is going to get sacked. Oh, no, looks like Poch is going to get sacked. It's all right. We've got Jose in now. He's a winner. He'll win us a trophy. Oh, it's boring. We need to get rid of him. Oh, Nuno's coming in. He did well at Wolves. Oh, he needs to go now as well. Conte, though, he'll definitely win a saying. He's a serial winner. Oh, he needs to go. Has no one worked out yet? It's not that they ain't the issue. There's no one worked out those three managers are not, the four managers, if you include Poch, and Ange Postecoglou will not be the issue at Tottenham. It is above that. Who's employing all these people and who's not backing them? How can you go, Conte, go and win something with us now, but I ain't got the squad to win it with us now? Well, we're not going to give you a squad now, but just go and win something with that crap now. No, I'm not. You're not going to. Like, for me, it's bizarre. Like, and there's so many Tottenham fans I speak to that go, yeah, but look at what Daniel Levy's done. Listen, he has done some good things at Tottenham.
He's changed the culture, Dan. That's what he's done. He's changed the culture. You can't get in certain stands in a tracksuit now.
Yeah, what is all that about? What actually is that
about?
Absolutely
mad.
He's changed the culture of the football club for Tottenham fans to feel that elite sport is more about competing rather than winning. So you go to the ground now, you've got the longest bar of any restaurant, any bar, dance floor. We have the longest bar of anything and we're a football stadium. You got gourmet restaurants in the ground, right? You got Dyson hand dryers in the toilets, marble floors. Everything about the stadium is aesthetically to the highest level. Then you walk up into the stands, watch Dyer kick it over his own head, Salah run through and go and make it 3-0. So everything we do off the pitch is to the highest level. We've got a 10-year deal with the Formula One. That's great. That's going to bring our revenue up so we can spend more.
And how much money do you reckon we spent with Dyson on hand dryers and toilets all around the stadium?
But the narrative is, when you look at Sky Sports today, they're peddling out that Tottenham has spent 125 million. That's because we've had to permanently sign Porro and Kulu, which we should have done a window ago.
Yeah. I was going to come on to that. Just quickly, what I will say, apologies if anyone's wondering why I'm normally very good at bringing up comments. YouTube, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, the last 24 hours has been playing up completely. For some reason, it's just stopped. It stopped showing me how many people are live. I've gone backstage and there's 658 of you in here. So apologies.
It's a StreamYard issue, apparently. It's not a YouTube issue.
Okay, no, wherever the issue is, I'm struggling to bring up anyone's comments. There are 658 of you in here. Guys, there are 164 likes. Come on, smash that like button. We should be getting to 400 likes with over 658 people. And smash the subscribe button. Come on, we're putting in the hard graft for you. All you got to do is press a button. That's the least you can do. I think that's the thing, Henry. I was going to come on to that guys, everyone will turn around and say, yeah, but Spurs have spent over 100 and whatever million because they're adding in the money for Porro and for Kulusevski, who are already at the football club. We did this last year with Romero. Do you remember, Henry? It was, but we have bought a centre-half. We bought Romero, who'd already been with us for a year. It's the same pattern, Dan, at Tottenham every single season. But when fans like Henry and I go live and say this, I'm sure he gets it as much as I do. It's, you're negative. You're not real fans. Why don't you
not
ever
a
say
Spurs
anything
fan.
positive?
Oh, mate, I've had that for years. I've had that for years.
Why don't you go down the Emirates and support Arsenal?
Yeah,
go
I
down
get
the
that.
Emirates,
I get that a lot, mate. No, if you can't see what Arteta's doing, get yourself down the lane and go over there. Why would I go down the lane why would I go down the lane to see us win nothing? Like when I'm winning nothing here and I'm disappointed. These people make no sense, mate. What it is, unfortunately, is they're what is called as toxic positive fans. They'll sit on their hands and they'll say, "Well done, Levy. This is a brilliant job getting Ange in." And unfortunately, they'll never see their team win anything. Fan voice is massive. I'm a massive believer in fan voice. If everyone got up and left the ground, Daniel Levy would do something about it because he'd have to, because he wouldn't have his precious money coming in.
We ain't got the stomach to do that, though, Potts.
That's the problem. Neither did we, to be fair. We did it for once in the European Super League, and then we went and spent more money, and then everyone went, "Oh, actually, the Cronkies are right then now because they're spending money." So it was just pathetic, to be fair. And I think the fan base, there's too much divide in the fan base. And it's not just Arsenal and Spurs, by the way. There's quite a few. The only two teams that have ever done anything that went wow. Man United stormed in the ground during COVID. Liverpool got up and left on the 70th minute, wasn't it? Because it went up to £70 a game or something. I don't know. And that did something. And obviously what we did outside the Emirates, the European Super League, they're the only times that any football club has ever managed to, in my opinion, of recent times anyway, change something and unite together. And it's such a good feeling when you have everyone on the same wavelength. The problem is, since the introduction of social media, there is never anybody that can unite. Unfortunately, it's always somebody's on one side and it's popular to be on the other. You're always going to get certain individuals that are going to be really happy with how the club's run, and certain fans are going to be absolutely livid with it. Now, don't get me wrong, you can support your club how you want. If Tottenham fans are genuinely really happy with just scraping into top 6 every year, that's fine, because that's how they want to support the club. But don't come for the fans that want to try and win a trophy or win a league, because that's the way I see it. And this is the same with Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal really have done so well to get themselves back into the Champions League. We qualified for it for 20 years. Arsene Wenger was sacked and hounded out for coming second. Yet somebody has decided that Mikel Arteta coming second is an absolute genius thing to do. Like, make it make sense. So
it's the PR, mate. The narrative will be, you can't compete with Manchester City because they're this super team. But as soon as they win anything, everyone goes, "Oh, but the 115 breaches." Right?
Yeah.
When you actually look at it and actually use a bit of logic, Arsenal have spent close to 650 million since Arteta's been there.
Since Arteta's been there, that is. Yeah.
Looks like you're going to keep Partey. Looks like you might go back in for Kudus from Ajax. And when you look through Arteta, he's, besides Saka and Martinelli, and I think maybe Saliba, that whole 11's changed.
Yeah,
whole 11. Yeah. Rice, Odegaard, Jesus, Zinchenko, whoever you want to talk about, right? So the narrative can't be that let's have a go at the Cronkies, because they've backed the manager. 650 million. If you give any top manager in the world 650 million quid, they put you in a title race. If Conte Spurs had 650 million and you bought a new back four that can actually defend, not leak goals like a sieve, and a DM that can actually play football, we'd be in a title race.
100%.
But the problem is, the narrative now is we can't say anything against Arteta because the PR is so... It's like a cult, mate. You go on Twitter, you say anything against Arteta, you're people making up songs in the shower about Odegaard, all these absolute crap, all this PR that comes out, right? You can't say anything. If you do come out, people like you and the likes of Lee Gunner and other Arsenal fans that do go against the grain, unquote, and because they care about their football club and they want to win, just get hounded out by this toxic positivity about how great the football club is, when in reality, you've only won an FA. I say you only. We ain't won anything in 30 years, probably, but you won an FA Cup with no fans there. You've been knocked out of the Europa League by Olympiacos and who was it, Sporting Lisbon, knocked out of the
and Villarreal
by Brighton at home or whatever it was. But the narrative is we've got bigger fish to fry, and then when that bigger fish happens,
but the problem you've got, Henry, is when
they move the narrative.
If you take the club back to 2003, 2002, when we were at the top level, in 1999, Man United did a treble. In 2000, I'd never heard one Arsenal fan go, well, we ain't going to win the league next year because Man United just done a treble. But apparently now we are doing that. Man City won a treble. Well, we'll take second best then because we can't beat them. No, we went and beat Man United in 2001 and 2 and did a double. Then we went invincible in 2004. That was where my standards always were. Unfortunately, the standards have flawed so far now that scraping into a top 4, people are doing cartwheels. It's absolute mad sometimes that I look at the fan base and the how we've dropped as a club. So that's why I've always been about raising the standards. I'm realistic. I'm not expecting us to go do a treble this season, right?
Yeah,
I'm not expecting us to go and win the league. You will win the league, Arteta. I'm not one of them. Some of the Arsenal fans are, and they're demanding the best. But we have to win a trophy and challenge for a title this season. Otherwise, there's been no progress whatsoever for me. So that's the way I see it, bro.
Just quickly, before we move on, I do apologise. I've logged out, logged back in. There is still a massive problem with StreamYard. So I will read out a couple of super chats. I can't bring them up. I'm so sorry. But Phil P has said, can the US prosecutor of Smoking Joe's defence team play at centre-half? Listen, I'm sure if he could, he'd do better than our centre-backs. Thank you, Phil. Much love there. Loves music. Thank you very much. Always a big supporter of the channel. Has said, I said it on Monday, we'll get centre backs no one's ever heard of. And then the one super chat that did pull through, I don't know why this one did, none of the others have, is Daniel Montandon. Always in the chat, always very generous. Said, evening, Savva. My Tottenham mate just showed me a tweet stating that an agreement has almost been found between Monaco and Tosin Adarabioyo. Daniel, I think this shows us where we are. We can't even compete with Monaco. The strange thing about this, Kaz, I'll come to you on this. The strange thing about this is news like this has got me mad over a signing that I didn't really want and only wanted as like our fourth choice centre-half anyway. Now we can't even get that. I just feel so frustrated that it's going to be a long late or someone like that coming back. Do you think there are any centre-halves? Sorry to put you on the spot. Do you think there are any centre-halves off the top of your head that would do well for Spurs that realistically we should be getting? Because as much as you all want to banter us, we're not tiny.
Well, at this moment of time, Axel Disasi is available now that Tosin's gone. So that must mean he's going to be on the move somewhere else since he's right centre-half as well. Or can play left. It don't matter. So along them lines, I think maybe he might be on the market. He's only about 25, 30 million. He's saying he's quoted. He's very good on the ball. He says that he's a unit. If I'm thinking of left-footed centre-backs, there's a release clause for him. I don't know why nobody's going for him, but there's Gonzalo Inacio from Sporting. If he wants to jump the gun, he might look for it like towards the Premier League. Bella Kotchap, I really like him. He's from Southampton. That's another good option for me. I think you might have missed out on Salisu personally, because I think another one that you missed that could have been something. Who else got relegated as well? Leeds, nothing good there. And then probably you might have to dip into the other markets somewhere else if you want a left-footed over in.
We don't have a scouting network though, do we? Like you look at you lot, you'll snap up players from it doesn't matter what league. We only look in the Prem or Italy.
It's true, so you don't look elsewhere much, but you did dip into Germany. Just why didn't you get? I just don't know why nothing's been sealed in Germany. You highlighted 2 good profiles. I just don't understand why it wasn't. It's not even like it was 50 million. We're talking like 26.
Kaz, do you agree with what Dan said then? If Spurs had got like Tapsoba and Van der Ven as 2 good centre-halves that actually are 11, forget the squad for the moment, that 11 we've got is actually quite exciting. And if you make it a little bit more solid at the back, Spurs, Dan didn't say this, I'm tagging this bit on, that could see Spurs in a 4th, 5th challenge. We've got a lot of attacking talent, but we just
one
can't
game
defend.
A week as well.
One game a week.
I wouldn't put it towards 5th. I don't think you got. I don't know. It depends on Kane. It all depends on Kane. If Kane stays, then yes. Kane goes, no chance. Which is looking like he's going to go.
Do you think? I look at the system we're playing at the moment. In the first 2 games, and Kane just does not suit it at all. He gets in everyone's way. I know that sounds weird, but
I just don't think his mind's even wanting to be there. If I'm being totally honest,
sure.
Body profile. I've seen this story before as well. Like he would come into the season and score loads of goals. Especially with Kane getting back to fitness, he doesn't really get off the mark straight away. Typically, from over the years, it does take him a little bit, and then before you know it, he goes bangs 2 goals against whoever. I just think even if you get them 2 centre backs and you lose Kane, there's no chance for me that you get top 5. I think maybe 6th, 7th would be your best bet. But the thing is,
even if we got the 2 centre halves, you don't think the rest of our team, like if you look at that midfield with like a resurgent Basuma, a James Maddison, goals from Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Solomon, Perisic. You don't think those two centre-halves would have us in there one game a week?
Nah. There will definitely be a credit to Angie's football because they're very fast centre-backs that can cover. But I think Chelsea's better than you lot, regardless who you're going to get. Pochettino's got a lot to do, but he's got the better profile. So on paper, yeah. I think Man United are miles ahead of you. I think Man City, Arsenal miles ahead of you. I think Liverpool miles ahead of you. I said 5 teams already. I think Newcastle currently, because they're quite embedded into Eddie Howe's system. The only thing is your one game a week could benefit. I think it's the 6th. I'm looking at Aston Villa even. Not only in the Conference League, it's nothing great. For them, it's amazing though. But I'm looking at them and thinking their 11 on paper and Emery is technically better than what you've got overall. But that's the way I'm looking at it. So I think a sixth place finish might do you boys. It needs to be a little bit more realistic, in my opinion. So, and that's what you're gonna have to aim for, because you got a lot of players to gel with, as much as Chelsea. You think of 2 centre backs. You got, let's say, Jed Spence, a Porro's he's had 2 different managers, now 3 in a space of 6 months or whatever you want to call it. Udigi, that's another one. Goalkeeper, that's new. Maddison, that's new. Solomon, that's new. That's a lot of new players. So I try to be realistic around it, but I think
I think I've said this before, and Henry, we've had this chat that I don't believe we're miles away from being a good team. Not a great squad. I'm not saying we're going to win things. I just don't think we're that far away. For me, it's a DM and 2 centre backs. But every window we get to, Henry, those are the 3 positions that seem to be ignored. The right centre-back, left centre-back, and a holding midfielder. It's almost like we're allergic to it. It's like we get to the window and go, right, what mistakes did we make last year? Let's do that all over again. Like, we just don't address the problems, Henry. And I can't...
Well, since Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, we've signed 2 centre-backs. Joe Rodon and Christian Romero. Is that right?
And Sanchez.
We've signed 2 centre-backs.
Hang on. You can't chuck Joe Rodon in there. We've signed 1 centre-back.
Okay, we've signed 1 centre-back, right?
Right.
I put up a tweet in earlier, right, into our chat earlier. Arsenal conceded 43 goals last year and went out and bought Timber, right? Aston Villa conceded 53 goals last year and went out and bought Pau Torres. We conceded 63 and haven't bought a centre-back. Where's the logic in any of that? Like,
the thing is, I don't even think, Henry, we're talking about like levels of centre halves here. So like,
Timber comes in and becomes our best defender immediately.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I look at what Kaz said, like Bella Kotchap, that would not be a shockingly bad signing for Spurs, in my opinion. I think he's got a good future. The other one I've always rated and think is criminal, he's not got enough caps for England. Kilman from Wolves, he'd be a good signing for Tottenham, for Spurs.
He's wicked.
I think he's a superb centre half. So we're not talking about top level centre halves here. We're talking about, you're probably going to have to pay 35 million for one, or maybe 40 tops for one. But you kind of need to, if you're going to spend that on Maddison, you kind of need to spend that on the more important area and give a priority signing.
Milenkovic from Fiorentina is sensational.
Yeah, can you... I think this is the thing, lads. I'll come back to Milenkovic in a second, Kaz. I've liked him for years. This is the thing, Dan. Whenever I say, like, we just go and get centre-halves, and you get those excuses. I call them the Levy sympathisers, the excuses. I made a video about them earlier, calling them out, saying they're those fans deserve the club they have. It cost me about 20 subscribers, by the way. But, hey, it is what it is, right? But we're not even asking... Like, I'll speak for me and Henry here. I think I know Henry well enough to do this. We're not even sitting here going, yeah, go and get us Vardio. Go and get us Bastoni. Yeah. Go and get us De Ligt. We're talking about a bloke from Wolfsburg who, don't get me wrong, I like him. I like everything about his profile. The Dutch under-21 captain, plays for a team in Germany who aren't even in Europe. Tapsoba, I'm surely we should be able to go and get Tapsoba if you put the money on the table. Tosin Adarabioyo from, no disrespect, Fulham. This is where I think the frustration is, Dan. And I know you need to go in a minute, but
no, you're right.
We can't even get these players over the line. And then you get fans going, you know what? You guys are negative. I think we're going to win something. And you're like, oh my, like, just stop. Like, it's just mental.
And you know what? You're right. Like with the first 11 thing, because the first 11, 1 game a week is not as bad. If you get a couple of injuries, you're screwed. And I do think you're going to miss Kane. I don't think it's going to be like it's as if Kane's never left. You're going to see a huge gap. I don't know much about your goalkeeper, but I hear he's half decent and was good in Serie A. I do think that you've got about 15 right backs to try and work out which one you want to play. But Adoji, I like. Obviously, centre halves, one of them will play with Romero, whether it's Van der Ven, whether it's a new pairing, whatever it be. Bissouma, Maddison, and Bentancur is a pretty good midfield as far as I'm concerned for a first team. And then you've got Kulusevski, Son, and Richarlison. Now, I do think that you've got some strength in depth, of course. You've not just got 2 centre backs to buy and that's it. Let's go again. But I do think that that's a good starting point because the ones you have, mate, are so bad. It's embarrassing. Like, we have had some shockers ourselves. And I look at where we are defensively now. Tomiyasu, Timber, Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko, Tierney. That's a very solid centre halves and fullbacks. We pretty much covered in every position. Tottenham, you can't even put 2 that are half decent together. Do you know what I mean? That's a real worry. Real worry. And, Romero, who I think is good next to a calming head, is probably your best one. And he's rash. So, it's not like he's a Sol Campbell or a John Terry, is it? Do you know what I mean? So it's a big, big concern for me. But I do think you'll sign players. The worry is, Savva, how you can go, right, Maddison, 40, let's go get him in. How can you go and get Maddison for 40, but you can't get Tosin or you can't get Van der Ven? Like, what is it about, like, the allergic reaction to centre-backs with Tottenham? I don't get it, man. It's weird.
Do you know another worrying thing as well is Christian Romero's been here, 2 seasons?
Yeah.
But on average, he plays 26 games. Less than 26 games a season.
Is that because of suspensions? Or
injuries.
Oh,
so
injuries
let's say he averages
injuries, suspensions, and every time Argentina are about to play Henry, this guy seems to get a mysterious injury, and then all of a sudden, the next day, he's there training with Argentina. I don't
24 and a half games a season. So if we sign, let's say, Longley and let's say in a hypothetical world, Tosin Adarabioyo, Romero's out. Even with Tosin Adarabioyo and Longley, we are going to get destroyed. That first game of the season, Brentford, the only team out of the Big Six last year to beat them there was Arsenal. We are going to get that. They're going to be right up for it. It's on the box. Everyone's going to be watching us. And you watch one ball over the top and Dyer's running onto it. And you've got that. Is it? I can never pronounce his name. Is it Moebu? He's running through and goal.
And Buemo.
Yeah, say goodnight.
Yeah, just quickly, Dan, do you need to jump? I think you need to jump.
I do need to, bro. I do need to, but it's been a pleasure, as always.
No, thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
We'll catch up soon, all right, boys?
Yeah,
take
See
care,
you soon. Cheers, Dan.
In a bit later.
For everybody else, we are going to go just for another 10 minutes. That's all we're going to go for, just a quick hour today. Guys, smash the like button. I've never known such a tight bunch. There's 672 people in the chat, and only...
Comment soon. You're gonna get the comments. Oh, but if it's a good content, it will naturally get liked. Don't beg for likes. I'm like, you're not a content creator, mate. You don't understand what it does.
Yeah. It just helps. No one's charging you to watch this. It's free. It's free content. Just smash that like button. And I'm going to be shameless. If I could get 10 more subs to get me to 7,860, I'd be so happy. So if you haven't, quickly smash the subscribe button. Someone will put it in the chat for me. And apologies that StreamYard is playing up. There's nothing I can do about that. I'll ask both of you. As it stands right now, where are Tottenham finishing? As it stands right now with our current situation. So Kane is still there and we haven't got any new centre-halves. Where are we finishing? Let me come to Kaz first. Where do you see Spurs finishing right now?
Be honest as well.
Right, let me do a list. I need to do a list. So forget the top 7 clubs. They're all finished. No, top 6. Other 6, sorry, including Newcastle. They're finishing above you. I think Aston Villa finished
Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, and Newcastle, yeah?
That's 6.
Liverpool.
Aston Villa finished above you. I think Brighton finished above you now. Because you know what it is? It's all coming down to that defence. Not your attack, your defence. I think you finished above Fulham. I think you finished above Brentford. So I'm gonna go for. I might have to go for 8th or 9th, and that's not me being rude. That's not me being rude.
No, I don't think it is. I've got us down 8th to 12th without any new centre backs.
It's your defence, and the fact you're going 4 back instead of 5 means I think you're going to leak more goals. And the way Andy might have to tweak his way he wants to play and go a bit more pragmatic, then it might be a different situation, because that's when Eric Dyer does get a little bit like decent when he does play in the pragmatic kind of approach. So yeah, I have to be realistic. I don't think you're better than any of them clubs right now.
Listen, don't worry about being you're being honest. Just so you know, I can only go in back to the back stream to see these comments. As soon as I said where are we going to finish, so it's a nightmare, isn't it? Flicking between the screens, which is why people should like, because it's a lot of hard work. Midori said 12th. Mex Rider said 9th. Red Dan said 12th. Terry said 10th. Chris said 8th. NASA 9th. Scott 12th. Stuart 8th. Nordic 8th. Show Me the Lights 8th. So far, we haven't had one person above 8th. 17th. Someone saying 8th. 8th. 20th. 9th. 7th to 9th. 13th. 7th or 8th. 8th. 8th, 11th, 6th to 8th, 10th. I think everyone's agreeing with you, Kaz. Like, it's somewhere in between that 8th to 12th bracket. Henry, are you feeling the same? We've got an attacking manager. We're going to concede.
I think that being said, I think we will concede less than last season, because if your defenders aren't that great, if anything, you don't want to play a defensive style of football. If anything, we're only going to concede more goals playing like that, because we're going to have less of the ball. I think under Ange, we're going to have a lot more of the ball. I'd imagine we can see between 50 and 55 goals next season. I think we'll finish between 8th and 10th. Cass is right. If we don't get centre-backs, and big questions have got to be asked about Harry Kane.
Even if it's one's not good enough. You need 2, man. You really need 2.
Yep.
And I don't mean Lenglet. I mean, Lenglet's cover I'm taking all day long. I can't lie. Even I don't mind that option. I think he's actually a good footballing. Like, you'll be surprised when you put him in a footballing side what he can really do with the ball. And it might run. But
have you seen how high Postecoglou plays his defence, Kaz?
Yeah. But the thing is, I
mental.
Think with shape and everything else that comes along with it, he could thrive a little bit. But as a backup, that's it. You need a left-footed centre-back. Van der Ven next to Romero is balanced. I would be going for Van der Ven. Just get wrapped up, personally.
But the problem we've got as well is it's not just the fact that, you know, we're learning a new style. I think there's a big problem in the forwards. Kulusevski and Song cannot play Postecoglou football. He needs natural wide men, not wide forwards who score a lot of goals. That's why we play better football when Perisic and Solomon play, because they're natural wide people who want to be direct and run at players. Son's best, like you said the other day, Savva, when he's running in behind for on goal. And Kane's got to get used to getting back in the box, not dropping 40 yards out of the penalty area to get the ball. We've got Maddison there now. We've got big problems going forward. Everyone's acting like we're going to go and score 70, 80 goals next season. No chance. No chance of me scoring 70, 80 goals next season. We'll be lucky to score 60. Because there's a massive teething period. We're going to have 2 or 3 months of a teething period learning the system.
Yeah.
You don't just walk into La Masia and learn it. It takes
years. Mate, it takes a long time. Just quickly before we move on, so I did have a super chat. I can bring one of them up. I can't bring the other one up. So the first one was from Loves Music, who said, I bet we go back for Cameron Carter-Vickers. I mean, if anything would sum up Tottenham Hotspur Loves Music, it would be this: many a true word said in jest, as my mum used to always say to me, right? I always used to say something ridiculous and she'd go, that might come true. Let's pray that this isn't true and that Mrs. Savva was wrong on this one. Also, in the back stream, there is CFC Pirate with his Chelsea badge has said, I wouldn't wish Joe Lewis to my worst enemy. Try being a Spurs fan, having an owner worth 6 billion and not winning anything. It is what it's just. Lastly, guys, we've got 2 or 3 minutes, and then I have redirected you all to Henry's show. Henry and I will be jumping over there very shortly, even though he hasn't sent me the link, or he might have done and I haven't seen it. No, he hasn't. He's about to do it now.
Taking Maguire.
I was about to say this. Is what I was about to say. I don't know. Did you know I was about to say this?
No.
I was about to say, is there any chance, do you think, that Spurs will get that desperate that they go and take Harry Maguire?
And in the window, yeah.
It makes no sense.
I know it doesn't.
Apparently West Ham want him, and it might be a loan with an obligation to buy.
He fits West Ham to a T. Low block, sit him in a back three next to in the middle with Aguero on the left and Zuma on the right. Makes perfect sense.
They don't play
in a
back
system where we're going to be 10 yards inside the opponent's half, one ball over the top, and you've got no chance.
I don't mind. They're getting Scott McTominay. Thanks to Chelsea, they rejected that Gallagher bid. And thanks to Arsenal for all that money that they're going to go and get McTominay for about 35 to 40 million. I'm absolutely chuffed with that. Thank you very much.
Can you imagine, Kaz, if Man United, right, if Man United makes 75 million from West Ham on McTominay and Maguire, you'll have to thank Arsenal, right?
I'm not joking, we've just secured our Maguire money back.
Wow.
That's amazing. And guess what? If Kane does, I heard there's going to be 85 million bid from Bayern Munich. If that gets rejected and they're going to hold out till the end of the window, I know if Man United make up enough sales, I mean, we've already made 20 million from Malanga. Dean Hendo's yet to get sold. I mean, that money is I'm cheeky 100 million bid. Take it or leave it, Lewis. You need your Bell money, mate.
Oh, Jesus, it's happening. Yeah, look, I'll be brutally honest. Henry, we had this chat. I hear you, Henry. I feel like it makes no sense. The problem is, Henry, we've literally just done a whole stream talking about how everything we've done for decades has made no sense. I just, you know what? Whenever people call me negative, I mean, it doesn't affect me. I'm like, okay, cool. But I would love to come on here tomorrow, guys, and be like, guys and girls, Spurs have just signed Milenkovic from Fiorentina. That is a top signing. I'd love that positivity in my life. But at the moment, I'm just seeing we can't get £20 million centre-halves over the line, Henry. It is truly embarrassing. Any last words, Henry, before I go to Kaz to close off?
ENIC out, Levy out, Joe Lewis out. You know, just get everyone out, rebuild the club, smash a like on the way out. And yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest, before I come to Kaz to close off, honestly, our fans, 615 people still in the chat and only 300 likes. It is... I don't understand it, but hey, it is what it is. And any subscribers would be welcome. Please subscribe to Henry Wright TV. Please subscribe to Kaz at Never a Foul. Their links are in the chat. You don't even have to be redirected. Just click on the link, smash subscribe. Lots of content creators working very hard for everyone this summer. Trust me, you may think we just get on and talk about football. A lot of effort goes into this. A lot of effort. Kaz, listen, just give me a quick, where are Man United going to finish this year as it stands with your signings?
Does that include Kane?
You're a funny boy, Kaz. You're a funny boy.
Wait. Don't never say never. As much as I don't like Glazers, Woodward, and all them, whatever is, when it comes to desperation times in the last week of the window, we pull something out of the hat somehow down the line. I'm just saying, if we recuperate enough in sales, I'm just saying. But no, if I'm going to take Amrabat, I think Amrabat and Højlund's done. I'm going to say that.
Do you think Højlund is? Because PSG have just come in for him, right?
Yeah, for a bid less than ours, and said we're not going to bid anything more. So
fair enough.
Makes no sense. I think we get them. If we get that, I can scream. We can definitely make second.
Okay, second. Henry, really quickly, because I know we've got to go for your channel. United this season, second?
No, I think they'll get third. I think if they get another forward, if they get Kane, then yeah. But I don't know. It depends how the Champions League campaign goes. If they go deeper into it, but if they get knocked out early, then yeah, they could well do.
Yeah. Okay, look, guys, thanks very much. I like that. Quick, swift hour, nice show. We've decided that Man United need Harry Kane, that Spurs need centre-halves. Me and Henry need to go and jump on another show. Thanks, Kaz, for coming on. Always a pleasure, mate. Always good to see you eating on stream. Love it.
That's my first. I was going to say, I apologise a little bit. Actually, I don't apologise. I was hungry anyways. Why do I care? I was just starving. That's just my first bit of bite today. Blame Daps. Daps is the blame.
I blame Daps for everything. Don't worry, I did a live watch along yesterday and I ordered Uber Eats McDonald's, so people watch me eat that.
When you stream so much in a day, right, and you keep doing it, you try to incorporate your eating with it, because when you want to go do something else that you need to go do, you can't be asked.
Listen, everybody who is still in the chat, we are going to end now. I have redirected you all over to Henry, whether you like it or not. I'm sure you have. Subscribe to Kaz. Keep subscribing to me. We'll see you over on Henry's channel in a minute. Cheers, guys. And as always, Levy and Enoch out.